my delicious co-creators. Lilou here on the GC Living Tour. Today I'm in Hawaii with Dr. Goswami. We're here a year ago. We were sitting here, and here we are again. You're back at the World Congress of Quantum Medicine. You love it. You're loving it.
Of course, this is a good spot to be at this time of the year.
Yeah.
Which is wonderful.
Yeah. Beautiful weather. Great people coming from all around the world. You're originally from India.
Yes, I am originally from India, and not very different weather from Hawaii, but of course this is on the ocean. That makes it super interesting.
Tell us, could you give us a little summary for the people that were not there at the conference and that haven't flew here, didn't fly here? Could you summarize a little bit some of the main things that you talked about yesterday, so everybody can benefit from this wonderful conversation that happened yesterday?
Sure. The conference is about the new medicine, integrative medicine. There is a new worldview that science is giving us, although the mainstream has not bought into it yet. There's a lot of vested interest, and so the mainstream acceptance of this new paradigm will take a while. But quantum physics, on which this new paradigm is based, its time has come. For a long time, the message of quantum physics just didn't get through. But for the 20 years, we have discovered that quantum physics makes it compulsory, that consciousness is the basis of all being. And therefore, the world is made of consciousness, not matter. The matter-based worldview that we have right now is good for machines. But everybody knows, and they just don't think about it, but everybody knows, including the toughest materialists, that human beings have experiences other than the material experience. We have internal experience, we have feelings, we have thinking, we have intuition, apart from sensing. Carl Jung figured this out from his data a long time ago. 4 personality traits, and therefore 4 types of experiences that dominate our being. The question, of course, is one of causality. Now, if you look at our consciousness is the way we know things. That's the definition. That's the etymological definition. Consciousness is the stuff that we know with. If you think about it, then immediately it becomes clear that to know all things does not require causal power, because that is just a machine can do that. A machine can reshuffle its old stuff that is already in the computer, already in the programs, and it can do new stuff on the basis of the old stuff. But here is the problem. Computers cannot ever process new stuff, brand new stuff that is needed to bring new innovations in the world. Like take Einstein's law equals mc squared. This idea I will never find anywhere, any program that the world has given us before Einstein came around. So to discover something like that from old stuff, which is what scientific materialists maintain creativity is about, is just not possible. So, when one recognizes these impossibilities of the material description of the world, that creativity is impossible, the way creativity works for humans is impossible for machines, we have to give up the machine science and we have to embrace the new human science. Science based on quantum physics brings in consciousness. Science based on quantum physics also allows us to bring in these subtle internal experiences that we have, namely feeling, thinking, and intuition. And when we do that, immediately 2 things happen. And this conference is about one of the aspects. One thing is that immediately our health science become very, very potent and applicable to human beings. Right now we have a material machine kind of medicine. Chemistry-based. You have everything that goes wrong with you is because of some chemical or physical problems, and you can fix it with chemical and physical attention to the body, physical body. But in actuality, this is not the case. We know that this kind of medicine has many, many shortcomings, and other alternative medicine practices like acupuncture has become quite popular recently because it handles the human actual case of health and healing much better. So similarly, there are other alternative practices that also have remained popular because they just work empirically. And now what quantum physics does, because it legitimizes these alternative ways of looking at health and healing by bringing in the subtle experiences in our medical vocabulary, it actually enables us to devise a worldview, a theory of not only the allopathic medicine, of material medicine, but also the subtle alternative medicine. So this is what this university is about. This is what this conference is about.
And you're very well known for the book that you wrote, The Quantum Doctor. So how do you think, as for individuals, like for us walking through life and needed, maybe we get sick or we have something we need to go to the doctor, what should we be looking in a doctor? That also has to evolve, right? And also I'm interested to hear from you how, as human beings ourselves, we becoming, I guess, quantum beings.
Yeah.
So there's the quantum aspect, the quantum doctor, the quantum beings. How, what shall we look for? What is really, how are we evolving?
Yeah, we are evolving great. At this university, we are creating an entire generation of physicists who will be doing their healing on a holistic basis. They will heal the whole human being. What does that mean? The human being has, aside from his or her material being, the material body, has also subtle bodies, subtle being. One being that feels, that's the vital universe, and the possibilities, quantum possibilities of the vital universe, when we experience them as feelings, movement of vital energy. This movement of vital fields that Rupert Sheldrake calls morphogenetic field because they help make biological form. Those are the movements that contribute to vital energy. So let's look at this vital energy. I mean, it's a tremendous concept. So when an acupuncturist is working on you, he or she is actually fixing up your vital energies that went awry, that's causing the pain that you have. It's not just the physical. This is the problem with the material medicine. Just by paying attention to the symptoms, they miss the real cause of the discomfort. There are the other bodies, and they are connected to this physical through consciousness. This connection is called non-local connection. So these entities, the vital body and physical body, are correlated. This is the word that we use to denote that mediation by consciousness. So when we have a symptom, that can mean that, okay, there is something wrong at the physical, no doubt, but that wrongness may be caused by a separation between the vital and the physical. They are no longer relating because something has gone wrong in the physical, therefore the vital is no longer correlated with the physical. Now, we can fix the physical, that's one way. But we can also fix the vital. It turns out that the vital is much more creative. It's more subtle and therefore more quantum, and therefore to change it through creativity is easier. And this is what the vital energy practitioners do.
It's measurable.
Vital. And it's measurable. It's measurable today. That's what is causing all the revolution. Unless you have measurability, some quantifiability, you cannot do science. So the big breakthrough came because vital energy now is quite measurable. And then therefore it's no longer an airy-fairy concept which you can only talk about philosophically but not in a measurable way, or experientially but not in a demonstrably measurable way. The reason that it's measurable is a major change in the paradigm of biologists that has taken place in the last 50 years or so, which is that we not only have a biochemical body, but we also have a biophysical body at the skin. This biophysical body relates to the emotions very well. So when you are emotion in a negative way, then this biophysical body picks it up, and those changes can be measured. So by measuring the biophysical, we can measure your emotional state. We can measure the vital energy, where things have gone all right, at which place, at which organ. So therefore,
like the chi or the energy, the vital energy, get clogs in some areas?
That's right. This is the concept that Chinese medicine has in terms of chi is blocked. Or chi movement has become too agitated, too much yang, or too much yin. That's the way they put it. Yin means it's too static, not moving enough. Yang means too energetic, too much movement. So those were ancient concepts. In the new science, we give new language, but we find that the ancient concepts are very evocative and accurate in the description. They just didn't know quantum physics, of course, and therefore their language is different. But they figured these things out with intuition and empirical results, and they did an amazing job. This is why Chinese medicine has survived for this long.
So a big part of a quantum doctor or being a quantum being is using our intuition. Could you tell us the difference between really the intuition versus the thoughts that we can have?
Yes, intuition is a separate experience. It's not thinking. Intuition is followed by thinking, which is that mind makes a representation of what we intuit. What we intuit, Plato said, we intuit the archetypes. We intuit stuff that goes beyond the concepts that we have of the archetypes. Like we intuit love, and then we make a conceptual representation of the intuition of love. And this is why our representation of love varies from one person to another. Everybody has something to say about love, which is very personal. Why is that? Because we are making a mental representation which depends on the mental history that we have, mental repertoire that we bring to that particular intuition. But the intuition, the object that we are intuiting, the name archetype is completely justified. That's the context of context. The context of thinking about love. That's what intuition is. So these intuitions, this intuitive level, they determine the biological form-making fields, morphogenetic fields in Rupert Sheldrake's language. In other words, the movement that we feel, they also have an origin in this archetypal domain. So ultimately, if we become aware of these archetypal domains, which is to go into the positive stuff and start emoting positive stuff. The negative stuff of our emotion is all connected with survivability, maintenance, reproduction, elimination. These are all survival. These constitute what in Eastern concept of chakra, the lower chakras. Lower chakras at the anus, at the sexual organs, at the navel or stomach. These are the low chakras. But there are also higher chakras. Everybody knows about the heart chakra, for example. The heart is still connected with love in almost every culture, human culture. So we know about these chakras in some intuitive, experiential way. What the new science does is that new science legitimizes it. It's completely clear. If anybody reads Quantum Doctor, the first thing you will notice, oh, I understand now why my heart palpitates when I fall in love, why I feel the way that I do when I am in romantic love with someone. And it gives us hint of how to bring these higher chakras, which is directly taking us to the archetypes. We have not investigated this part of ourselves, especially under the barrage of scientific materialism, the idea that matter is everything. We have denigrated love, we have denigrated concepts of archetypes, all the archetypes, goodness, which is the basis of ethics, or take justice, which is a business, which is the business of social justice, law and politics and all this. We have forgotten the archetype. We have even forgotten truth, which is the archetype of science. But look, if you give up the truth, then you get Fox News. You get violation of truth all over, and this is what we are seeing in current politics. Nobody bothers about truth anymore. Yeah. This is why Mitt Romney can come to the debate and present a new Mitt Romney and puzzle the president, and president has no answer to give, and he loses a debate. But it's not a question of debate. Human life is not about debates. Human life is about truth. And the truth always ultimately wins. Unfortunately, we have to deal with it. And so what the new paradigm does, that allows human beings to recognize that we have these experiences. If we don't acknowledge them, if we don't live them, then we are the losers. Mm-hmm. We are the world. There's a famous song in the 70s, 80s, we are the world. It's true. We are the world. So if we miss out on the greatest part of our experiences, which is our intuitions of the archetype, then we are losing out. We ourselves are losing out. We are losing out on everything that we covet. We are losing out on love. We are losing out all the things that makes life worthwhile.
Mm-hmm. But in life, and as you were describing your presentation, for example, within the heart chakra, there is the romance, there is also the jealousy. So there's those things that we feel in our heart that needs healing, and we know we should go in the direction of love, and yet we still sometimes react from fear, and we kind of dig ourselves our own hole. What, as a quantum doctor, what do you advise there? Because why do we keep on going that route?
So that is the question. This is a good question actually that you ask. So there is jealousy. What is jealousy? Jealousy is heart chakra energy is going out of the heart. Jealousy is the recognition that this person is not paying attention to me. He is or she is paying attention to somebody else, and I don't like it, so I withdraw the energy from the heart. This is what gives us pangs of jealousy, and of course, this is what goes wrong. When heart energy gets blocked this way, if it is blocked for a prolonged period of time, the immune system, which is a heart chakra organ, is affected, and eventually we can get into serious disease like cancer. So a good example is women and breast cancer. Women who grieve too much has more frequency of breast cancer than otherwise. This is well known now. And we can now detect early signs of such breast cancer of grieving women just by Carlian photography, which measures the vital energy blocks at the heart chakra. So we can tell these women that, look, you've got to be aware that you are blocking the energy so much that you are getting possibility of cancer, and so better clean up your heart chakra, balance your heart chakra. So this is the kind of thing that the new science brings. New science brings an awareness at a personal level that we can make our life better. We can make our life better by looking at the archetypal aspects of our life, adjust our feelings and thinking more towards the archetypes which we should covet, rather than the material grabby stuff, which is good, important, because they are important for survival. I'm not saying that we shouldn't pay attention to survivability. Yes, but after the survivability is served, like Abraham Maslow said, after the physical needs are satisfied, then we should covet for the higher needs. And this is what normal human beings do, except when we are persuaded by a faulty worldview that the higher values don't exist. This is the biggest shortcoming of the scientific materialist philosophy. It has convinced almost everybody in the society, not convinced, confused almost everybody in the society that they don't believe in values anymore like they used to. Yes, the working for the values takes attention, takes awareness, because you don't have automatic brain circuits to access them. We cannot access them through the known, through the computer aspect of ourselves. We have to accept them to the human aspect of ourselves, which means creativity. So we have to bring creativity in our life, and that's a tall order. Agreed. You know, creativity requires work. There's no question about it. Creativity requires a change in lifestyle. But it's wonderful to be creative. It's the stuff, again, that makes life worthwhile. So if you remember that, and to the extent that you're capable, this capacity is there in everybody. How creative you will be is completely up to you. You have the potential, realize it. This was the basis of human potential movement in the 70s, and the time is much more ripe today than it was in the 70s, because we understand the science, we have the method, we have the techniques, we are teaching it in universities like the International Quantum University. And this is the goal of my life. I have dedicated my life entirely to this. Yeah. I call it quantum activism, bring quantum physics and its message to people.
Yeah. So the more we're creative, the more we're actually tapping, we're aligned with our higher self, our soul. Do you even use the word soul when you?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I use the word soul constantly. Soul is this supramental aspects of ourselves. That's one way of interpreting the soul. There is, of course, another connotation of soul, which is the surviving aspect of ourselves after we die. And quantum physics rationalizes that soul too. It has a very good theory of that kind of survival after death also. But when we say soul in this context, what we mean is this aspect of ourselves which aspires and learns about the archetypes. That is the soul. So you can readily verify it. Whenever one of the higher chakras are agitated, whenever one of the higher chakras are activated, you will feel that a whole wave of satisfaction will run through you. Just do it. You just sing a song. Like I have a favorite song, "How I Love You," and I just sing that in the shower, and immediately my whole being just becomes satisfied. Because you are not only bringing the energy to the heart chakra, you are bringing the energy also to the crown chakra, and your entire being will become holistic. And that is satisfaction is about. Today, we have, depression is now the third most disturbing disease of humanity, behind only heart disease and cancer. People are depressed. Depression is due to lack of satisfaction. Completely lack of satisfaction. The crown chakra is not vitalized. Crown chakra is not getting enough activation. You have to activate crown chakra by bringing satisfaction in your life. You have to pay attention to these archetypes. That's what can bring satisfaction in your life. You have to satisfy your soul, not just your mind, not just your organs, lower organs, not just your survivability. But you really have to go out and get love in your life, get satisfaction in your life, express. That's the throat chakra. Focus, gets intuition, and finally get satisfaction.
How do you explain on a scientific level that the more we follow our heart, the more we're doing things that feel good during the day, then little by little we can really truly live 100% of the time our life purpose? You know, a lot of people are looking for their life purpose. How does really this works to really being supported even by the universe financially, being really on this much grander path, a path of the soul, a path of the heart?
Yes, it turns out that the universe itself cooperates. There is a movement of consciousness in this direction. The evolution, theory of evolution is being replaced. Darwin's theory is a partial theory. It does not have all the answers. It's well known. The fossil gaps it cannot explain. It cannot explain the why biological fossils become complicated, more complex over time. So Darwin's theory has been known to be faulty by even biologists. Of course, this is hush-hush because they are afraid that if Darwinism fails, then creationism will grow and people will get even more confused. But that's not necessary. The new science has a new theory of evolution which goes beyond Darwinism. It does not negate Darwinism. Darwinism is part of this story, but it goes beyond Darwinism and shows that evolution is really an evolution of consciousness. The initial stages, we could just evolve and express this is evolution of our feelings. That's the initial growth of biological growth and biological evolution. Then with the evolution of the neocortex, we started making representations of the mind. So this is evolution of the mind now. But first was the evolution of the vital body, and now it's evolution of the mind. And then it will be evolution of the supramental, beginning with our mind paying attention to the supramental. This is what can happen right now. This is what is happening for the last 3,000 years or so, beginning with such luminaries as Plato in Greece and Buddha in India and Moses in Israel and so forth. So this is going on, but only a few people are participating in it. What will happen with the new science coming in and replacing the old science and integrating both science and spirituality, the old worldview of religion? By doing this, we become A, dogma-free, B, we become renewed in terms of humanity rather than our machine-like feature. And doing that, we become attuned to the purpose of the universe. So we become attuned to the universal purpose, which is to eventually make us archetypal, make us virtuous. The purpose of evolution is to make love in the world not just a concept, but manifest in our being. How can everybody become loving? Everybody become loving if they have a love circuit in their brain, right? How do we make love circuit in everybody's brain when we have to deal with all those violent people? You know, some of them are sociopaths and all that. So we cannot expect for everybody being loving all of a sudden. How does evolution do it? Evolution always depends on a bunch of selective individuals of the species. So a part of us have to become very active in terms of spiritual transformation, bring these archetypes in our lives. See, if only a small portion, perhaps less than 1%, maybe 1/10 of 1%, if they can transform, according to a theory by Rupert Sheldrake, which I completely support, quantum theory gives justification for it, we can change the world, because there are these morphogenetic fields. If we make changes, if you and I and let's say a few million people make love circuit in their brain, our morphogenetic fields pick up the changes. And then what happens is that this memory is stored not in the brain, not in the individual brains, but non-locally, outside of space and time. So they become available to all of humanity to inherit. This is another way that biological things, stuff, experiences can transfer from one generation to another. It's not just through genes, it's also through morphogenetic field. This is the contribution that a famous biologist named Lamarck, who existed even before Darwin, it is his theory. We didn't know the mechanism at that time, now we do. And so taking advantage of this mechanism, if only a few million of us make changes, we can make those changes permanent in all humanity. So this kind of social change, this kind of evolutionary change, it is quite possible, it's even feasible. So we have to start today. So this is why I have this movement of quantum activism. We are trying to generate people who will take this part of this aspect of transformation to the world, and whoever is capable, join us and do it. It's a lot of fun. It's not just, going into a cave and giving up on the world. We have an entire new science to guide us. We no longer need to renounce the world in order to live the archetypes. We can do it right while living in the world and transforming the world, even changing the way we handle world's economy.
But how does this work? If people want to be a quantum activist, how do you help people figure out what it looks like? Do they figure out themselves? How do you regroup people?
Well, I give lectures and workshops world over. We have a Center for Quantum Activism. We have a website or two. I have my website, amitgoswami.org. And the Quantum Activist workshop is quantumactivist.com. So if you look up either of these workshops, you can get to all the programs that we have, all the videos. The director of the center, Reese Stewart, is right now making a movie, for example, on creativity and innovation. And in that movie, we will tell you the entire program of transformation that we have. So, and there is already a documentary that we made, released in 2009, called The Quantum Activist. If you look at that, you will get the entire program laid out in very, very simple language and very evocative imagery that that Ree and Renee, her associate, have created. So there's a lot of stuff available already, and we are making more, and the universities like International Quantum University are working together with us, and many other organizations, Institute of Noetic Sciences, they are with us completely in sync. In Brazil, we have an Institute of Quantum Activism. So the hope is that it will be a worldwide movement in a matter of just time.
Beautiful. And what are you up to these days? Are you writing another book? Are you what's up in Amit's life?
Well, yes, there is a book on quantum creativity that will come out by Hay House next year.
Good news. Congratulations.
That is already done. Thank you. And I am right now working on a book on economics of consciousness. This is the one that brings in new economics, extends Adam Smith's capitalism to a new horizon, which will really change the way we think of our economy, and also we think of abundance. Abundance, if we restrict it to material abundance, that kind of abundance just cannot be sustained, unsustainability. This many people are very worried about, the ecology especially, but all thinking people know that we have finite material resources. The resources on the non-material, the vital, mental, supramental level are infinite. The non-material worlds are all infinite worlds. So if we learn how to represent these infinite worlds and make capital out of that by making physical representations and newer physical representations of them, then we can really create an infinitely expanding economy. That's the economist's dream. We have to do that. And we have the key now how to do it. So that is the new economics. And of course, again, unless we take an activistic point of view, we cannot change the world. Look, the spiritual worldview, religious worldview still competes with the scientific worldview. That shows you how hard it is to change your worldview if your worldview is not complete. The reason that materialism cannot be completely acceptable to all people is because it's not complete. It leaves out a lot of our stuff that human beings are about, especially the spiritual stuff. So the spiritual worldview lives on because it relates to people. You know, those Republicans have something good to say about us. They support the values, and Democrats fall short. So what one has to do is to accept the fact that scientific materialism is as incomplete as the religious worldview of Christianity and other religions. The only consolation right now is, the only matter of excitement right now is that we can rise beyond both of these dogmatic worldview which leaves the other worldview out. We can combine them, integrate them into an integrative worldview. So everything of these two polarities that is producing polarization in this country and worldwide can all be integrated using this integrative worldview that we have. On top of it, you know, we don't have to subscribe to dogmas anymore. Dogmas separate. Materialism is a dogma, so is religion, when it leaves the other out. When we realize that both are true of our being, we have a physical being, we have to honor that. We have a spiritual being, we have to honor that too. When we organize both together in an integrative worldview that quantum physics is giving us, in a platter, we have it.
And free spirit.
Free spirit, exactly. Then humanity has absolutely no infinite possibility, no barrier against continuing evolution for, since the end of time, whenever that is.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Dr. Goswami, for this wonderful moment here in Hawaii. Thank you so much for your time and taking the time to do this video too for all the beautiful co-creators out there. Thank you.
Okay, I love doing this one, and you are a good energy interviewer. Thank you.
Thank you. I send you much love. We send you much love from beautiful Hawaii here on the Juicy Living Tour. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your love. Thank you for sharing all these videos with the world, with your friends, with your family. This is really making a difference to share this information and educating people and sharing our heart. It's beautiful. It's beyond the words. Much love. Bye-bye.